Hey, welcome back. Today I will join you once again in the discussion of this wonderful series, Severance. I like this series so much because it has allowed us to venture into the depths of our minds, but also on the material. It allows us to see the interactions between the persons we care about the most and the several archetypes, personalities we all have, and how they sometimes they don't interact with each other. So by this review, I want to start doing a breakdown. I will break down the episode, and in between the parts I find most interesting, I want to comment either on symbolic or maybe hidden pieces. So the episode starts with Dr. Regabi and Mark. Mark is talking about Gemma because he's being reintegrated and he remembers her in the wellness room. So he has this memory of Gemma in the wellness room, watching her coming down the dark alley, the same dark alley that Irving was painting, his Audi was painting. This leads us to following the Ortbo incident, where, well, everything went down between Irving and Helena. Dylan is telling them that after Irv's funeral, he found the map with the painting on the front of the dark alley, the same dark alley that Audi Mark remembers seeing Helena on the wellness hallway, the dark hallway that Irv is always painting. His Audi is always painting because this image in Irv's mind is refloating into his Audi mind. This leads us to what I think to be the main issue in this episode. This episode is about the innies and the outies relationships, because Mark and Heli try to reconnect somehow, because Helena and Heli, they both appear in this episode. First, in the first part is Heli. Heli R tries to reconnect with Mark because Heli R hates Helena, and Mark has been telling her what she did with him in the Ortbro. Of course, Mark didn't know this, and there is a key piece of dialogue where Heli tells Mark that Helena used our body without your consent. Heli feels utilized by Helena, and later in the episode, Helena is looking for Mark because Mark is eating in some Chinese restaurant, and Helena, that has to be maybe one of the most powerful people in the world at this point, seems to run into him there, which is basically impossible because people of this social circle like Helena Egan don't go there. And she tries to reconnect with him at the same time that Heli is trying to reconnect with him. It means both sides of Helena Egan try to reconnect with Mark. This keeps accentuating what is the importance of Mark. And let us just remember that Mr. Drummond, one of the Lumon board members, told Heli that Mark is somehow a key to evolution. Here, we can see Dylan interaction with his wife Gretchen. Gretchen comes see Dylan's innie. In his house, he tells Isauti that she wasn't able to see him, but she seemed to be very fond of Dylan's innie. Somehow, I think that she's enjoying some kind of honeymoon boyfriend phase. Here, once again, we can pay attention to the several sides of the characters, the innies and the outies, and how each of them bring out a different aspect of their personality. Because Gretchen likes Dylan's innie, and she doesn't like Dylan's outie so much, but she still keeps a relationship with one part of him. And now I think we got a important piece of information when Milchik was talking with Miss Huang about his performance review, because he tells her the same thing in a repackaged way what Mr. Drummond told him during his performance review. He tells her that she must be focused on her duties and she must eradicate her childish folly. Then he makes her like a thin veiled threat that he cannot give her an wintertide some type of approval of her fellowship to the wintertide. Wintertide, I think, is the all girls Egan Academy where Miss Cobble went. And then we have this scene where Mr. Milchik is alone and he's using paper clips because his performance review told him he was making wrong use of paper clips. This was so strange, super strange. It's like he made his own punishment ritual without anyone telling him. Well, then we have two parts left. One very important is the dinner between Irving, Bert, and his husband, a man named Fields. They talk about what Bert did for the past 2 decades on Lumon, but according to Irv, Lumon didn't exist 20 years ago. But there is something important that Bert said. Bert said his pastor, because turns out he's very religious, his pastor told him Innis have souls. So this means the Severance that created another person inside them have their own souls, which makes sense in a way because they have their own experience, their own moment of birth and their own path. But it's important here, I want to pick up on Mr. Drummond. Mr. Drummond breaks into Irv's house. He has the keys to everything. This represents that Mr. Drummond is the gatekeeper, but beyond him there is all wisdom. And there is a very important part after this that I want to focus, is that Helen and Mark earlier on this episode decide on Helly's initiative to have the intimate experience Mark had with Helena. This is done in a very symbolic ritual manner. This is done in a tent and in a symbolically sanctuary sacred temple with a virgin, as the Innis are virgins. And after this, on the final part of the episode, we see Mark traversing the death and rebirth process because he has a seizure after being reintegrated almost completely as the doctor she's helping him float the chip on his head. He sees a great hole with white light. So we witness the symbolic death of Mark. This is very important going forward. And what is very important going forward is what Bert and his husband Field knows. Very important to remember the discussion about souls and the discussion of Innis and Outis being different and being two in-soul beings. I hope you are enjoying this series as much as I am, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.